Welcome to the Point of No Return podcast, a show at the intersection of technology and strategy. On this show, we interview industry leaders and experts to better understand how they think about strategy during this time of exponential progress.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Point of No Return podcast on this dreary winter day. I had the pleasure of speaking with Dominique Laverdure, General Director at Rouge Marketing. First off, I'd like to start with a quick apology. The audio wasn't great on this podcast, and that's really because of my fault, because of an audio setting. I do hope that you do stick through it though, because it was indeed a really good conversation. Dominique is CEO and partner at Rouge Marketing, a communications and marketing agency that she founded 15 years ago in 2004. She's spent the better part of her life in marketing. So we spoke a lot about her career, how she went from L'Oréal, and then launched her own agency, in a really crowded market, and how she positions her agency as well. We spoke a lot about her philosophy on remote work, and the business benefits that she's seen from it. So I found this to be very avant-garde in terms of her thinking, and very, very relevant to, I think, to today's market. We also spoke about, the future of marketing, where marketing is going, her thoughts about going back to basics, and some of the future of where brands are headed as well. Dominique has a very interesting view about the marketing space. I'm really glad that she spent the time today. Her depth of experience is quite incredible, and I think that you'll enjoy the conversation. Dominique, thank you for being on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you coming all the way from Mont-Tremblant, or if you traveled all the way here specifically from Mont-Tremblant for this interview, but I appreciate
it's my pleasure.
Nonetheless. So first question, obviously we dig into your profile a little bit, and I think we follow a little bit of a similar career path, at least in the marketing world. What got you interested in marketing? Why'd you decide to go into that field?
Life took me into that field. I did not decide to go into marketing. I studied entrepreneurship at McGill, so I knew that I wanted to have the tools to be my own boss one day. And then from there, I when I was in university, I was a recruiter at Quantum. So I was helping people find jobs. From there, one of my clients decided that he thought I was going to be a good marketer. He recruited me to go into marketing, and then from there, it just kept on going, and I ended up at L'Oréal, and this is where I really fell in love with the marketing job. But even at L'Oréal, they were like, you're a good marketer, but you're a salesperson. They really wanted me to go into the career path of becoming a VP of sales.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And yet it does not seem like you chose to do that.
No, I was really liking marketing. I was in retail marketing, so I had a sort of doing a little bit of both, working with account managers on promoting the L'Oréal brand within their own brand. So working with shoppers, Jean Coutu, Uniprix, and try to create a good in-store presence for L'Oréal throughout those brands. And they were pushing me on the sales side. They thought that was my profile, my strength, and I was open to anything. I was completely in love with L'Oréal. I was a complete overachiever, and I was willing to go as far as they wanted me to go.
Yeah, it is an environment for overachievers. Having a few friends that work there. What aspect of the field do you think interests you the most? Obviously, it's a dynamic and changing field, but curious as to what kept you interested and so passionate about it for so long.
What kept me interesting, I think, would be the communication aspect and the strategic aspect of marketing. Marketing, people often associate it to creativity, and I think creativity is like the last part, the cherry on top of the sundae. But it's really more strategic and analytic that we think, and communication, how to best convey a message, how to best target your profile. So for me, that was when I touched marketing, I was not on the creative side. I was really more on the marketing plan, the strategies, and how we're going to get those sales up, and how we're going to reach those specific targets, and profile the different personalities, and how can we affect their behaviors in buying our products. So it was really that part of the marketing aspect that really drove me, and not necessarily the creativity.
Interesting, yeah, because I could obviously definitely relate to that, being more of an Excel geek than the creative design person. It's a field that I find is only growing in importance, that aspect of marketing, and it's also very misunderstood, as you said, where people think it's all about, but your creatives with scarves in a room deciding on what the campaign is. But it's actually, there's a huge analytical and rational component that really underlies everything.
And it's important because people get stuck on their personal perception or their personal taste. And, so many clients that come in and they say, I want to do this and I want it done like that. And, I'm like, okay, who are you talking to? Who are you doing this for? And you end up building up on the conversation and you say, well, you're sort of profiling yourself, which is fine, but are you the targeted customer of what you're trying to sell here? Most of the time they're not. So you really have to dig into the analytics before you say, okay, well, this is where we should go creatively. So,
and from L'Oréal, I guess I have one question before the post L'Oréal. L'Oréal, as you mentioned, it's a domain for achievers, very strong marketing culture. What do you think were the biggest lessons that you've learned there?
Wow, I learned so much. They put you in some of these positions where you just can't believe you're going to be responsible to make such big decisions at such a young age. And so I think they really taught me to be a leader. They really taught me to be able to put my foot down and to stand for what I believe, to go for it, not be scared to say, well, this is what my intuition says, this is what I believe is right, and to go fight for it, I think I built a lot of character at L'Oréal, to make my way and to be recognized in such a, there's so many great talent at L'Oréal.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit intimidating, right? Because you work with so many type A people. Definitely character building, as you said. So what led you to leave? Sound like you loved it. Why leave?
I had a big heartbreak with L'Oréal. It's they put you on a career path, and you're willing to give it all, and then life throws a baby at you. And it kind of changes a little bit the possibilities that you have. So they did promote me where I wanted to go, but in the wrong province. So they were shipping me to Toronto. Great promotion, great opportunity. But my baby was like 6 months old, and they were giving me 2 weeks to move and jump on board. And it was a big decision. And when I refused to go there, well, the relationship after that was not necessarily the same. And the last straw was for me that coming up to L'Oréal one day and being told that I was one of their key employees, achieving the best results and doing super well. And but I needed to show up earlier at the office and leave a little bit later at night because it looked bad for the rest of the team that I was like achieving so much from a 9 to 5. But I had a baby. I was living in Tremblant. And, I spend my days at the office at my desk working really hard instead of socializing. And I guess that wasn't necessarily part of their culture. So when I got that last speech, I said, no, this is it. Yeah. I know I can do it. So I'm going to go and do it for myself in an environment where I can manage my time the way I want to.
Do you think it should have been handled differently on their behalf? Like, do you because for me, it sounds very striking as a point. I don't want to pass judgment because it feels like it was a long time ago also. It's
a long time ago. I mean, it's about, 17 years ago now. It doesn't make me younger, but it's a long time ago. And, I had a big heartbreak following that. But today I thank them. I think they pushed me to become an even better person, better entrepreneur. What the lessons I got from L'Oréal and the path it led me to made me become who I am today and manage a business who has a complete innovative culture where I give my staff complete freedom. So I'm thankful today. I don't like to dwell on the past. Everything that happens for a reason. And I thank them today that they sort of pushed me out that way. So made me build Rouge and have a really great company today.
Did you always want to start your own company if it was at a young age, or was it just an opportunity that presented itself?
I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad was an entrepreneur, and my grandfather too. So I always kept that as my plan B, sort of like, well, if it doesn't work, I can do something. But being an overachiever, when you come out of school, you just want to climb those ladders and show everybody that, you can make it to the top faster. So I didn't think it was going to be, like I said, if my story at L'Oreal would have been different, I might have stayed there for 20 years. I was really engaged with the brand and the company and really loved the people that were working there. So at that point, even when I quit L'Oreal, I did not know I was going to start a business right away. I was just more in surviving mode. Okay, I'm living in Tremblant. There's not really any jobs here for me. And so I did not know what to do. I just started knocking on doors and say, do you need any help with your marketing? Can I help you structurize your processes, make sure that you're spending your money well, that you understand the returns that you're getting? And it started like that. So initially, I didn't even think that I was going to start a business. I was just helping small businesses in the area, and I was having a great time skiing half the day and working half the day. And I thought, well, this is pretty cool. I can do this for a while. But then a client referred a client, then referred another client, then referred another client, and then I ended up having to hire staff, and that's how we decided to build a business.
I will not comment on the skiing part because I'm slightly jealous. That is, skiing half the day is not a bad life. But okay, so at a certain point, obviously things started picking up. You're getting referrals.
Yeah.
I can imagine that you're like a superstar player in a very relatively smaller market locally. Well, at what point did you realize, okay, I have something bigger than me and I have a business here?
I think it all came together after a couple months. We got a call to do a real agency pitch. There was Marie Stéphane that was with me at the beginning. She was in the same life-changing situation, and we were doing some consulting together. And we got the call for a real agency pitch. Neither her or me were creative designers, so we said, okay, well. Do we go after this? Are we really an agency? Is this what we're doing? And if so, well, we need an art director. We need to go get someone that has that talent. So we decided to go for the pitch, hope for the best. And at that time, we started speed dating art directors, met this great guy who decided to jump on the challenge with us. We took 48 hours, worked night and day, and prepared a pitch, business cards, a logo for our company, because we didn't have any of that. And we won the account. So out of the blue, we're like, okay, so we actually won this. So let's start a business. And he jumped on board with us. And that's when we decided to get incorporated and really officialize the story. Yeah.
That's a great story. I have to say, it's an amazing story. And did you have the name already? Or did it come up with hey, we need a name? Curious.
Oh, we need a name. Honestly, when we stayed up that night trying to prepare the pitch, trying to find the name, it was a funny night. It was we had lots of laughs. Thank God we had some good wine too to boost our creativity. But we said we need a name, and Sylvain he loves typo. He's very strong on letters and the different significations. So he was like, I love the letter G. I want a name with G. So we said, okay, fine. And we started writing names, and then Rouge came up. I had done some personality classes at L'Oreal that identified me as a red type of personality.
Yeah, I'm blue, but yeah.
Yeah. So right away we came up with Rouge, and then Stéphane was like, I love it too. It's a very dynamic color, and so it was it's a very powerful color in terms of branding as well. So that was it. 24 hours later, we had a business card. We were named Rouge, and we were going out to pitch
after the races.
Yeah.
And what is Rouge today? If you had to fast forward, how would you describe your agency?
My agency today is a well integrated marketing service. We are focused on strategy before creativity. Still today, I think that's what drove me to start the businesses in the way we did, and we kept on going with that. So we have a super strong consulting service. It starts with that. They're there to help the client understand, demystify, properly execute their plans, build those plans, those strategies. And then we've invested a lot in our HR to have the experts in each department that we can take those plans, those strategies, and execute them to the client. So we can take it from A to Z and really control it and evaluate the results and really build value for the client. I think today it's working super well, and I'm happy that we stuck with it because, the agency world changes so fast, so quickly. And when I first started, I remember people were like, oh, you need to be just web, or you need to be just this, and you can't do this. It's old school, being integrated. And 15 years later, I see all these agencies trying to bring back all these expertise together into more of an integrated services. So I'm happy that we stuck with it. It served us well. We often act like a marketing department for some of our clients. You can hire yourself a strategic head in-house, but you still need to go get someone that can program. You still need to go get someone that can do social media. You need to get someone that can do videos, and you need all that. So sometimes we're a good solution to say, well, instead of building up an entire team in-house, where you're still going to have to subcontract some expertise, well, we end up being a great solution for them.
Yeah, so you brought up a few interesting points, and I want to unpack one of them about your offering. So how you think about strategy before creativity. I love that line. Do you find that's a main differentiator of you versus other agencies? Obviously, the service business is tough to differentiate. So how do you think about a unique offering?
If you compare me to a very traditional big agency in Montreal, I think that's mostly a differentiation point. We don't, when people come in and say, well, I just want to have something super creative and win a prize, we'll be like, well, maybe we're not the agency for you. The result could be the same, but I'm not going to focus on doing something creative for you. I'm going to start by focusing on doing something smart for you. And then smart can end up being super creative and could be price-worthy, but sometimes smart is not necessarily price-worthy because your target market will not respond to that, or it's too wild for them, and that's not the purpose. My goal is to ensure my clients increase their sales, increase their revenues, and increase their awareness in the marketplace so they build brand value. And to do that, I think it starts with a strategic approach. And then at the end of it, something great comes out of it creatively as well, but it's not just about the visual. It's about how the actions you decide to put forward. It's the entire marketing mix. It's the content, it's the visuals, it's the actions you choose to do. There's so many things that fall into it, and it's not just about having the most funny concept or the most beautiful signage, or it's a lot more than that. Yeah,
no, I completely agree. And curious to dive into how you think about marketing strategy and what's your playbook when you sit down with a customer and you say, hey, we're going to start with strategy. What does that look like? What does that engagement look like?
Well, we tell our clients, to be able to get there, we need to make sure that we have a solid partnership. We have to go into discussions where we need to put all the cards on the table. If my clients are not authentic and truthful about what their business is really like, I won't be able to help them achieve their objectives. We need to be able to trust each other and say, okay, the situation might not be pretty, or maybe it is, whatever, but tell me the real deal. So we can help you build the right communication around it, the right strategic approach to make sure that when it gets to the customer, we're giving out the right message, and you won't have a fallback after. I think today brands are successful when they are as authentic as possible. I think people do not want to be told bullshit anymore. People want to know the truth, and there's a brand for everybody out there. There's different personalities. People look for different things, and you have to be who you are and walk the talk. You got to deliver on what you promise. So it has to have. It starts with deep trust, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. You give me a question. I'll poke you after with it, though. I still want to talk about Rouge, and you've been very outspoken about you're building a strong company culture, work-life balance. I love how the inception story of why you think it's important, and I appreciate your candor on that point. So curious on your philosophy, maybe espouse about it a little bit more about things like remote working and how and why it's important for you.
Well, the same reason I decided to go live in Tremblant, I made it a strong focus that I was not going to wait till I was going to retire to enjoy my life. We come from the back end of that generation that was saying Liberty 55 and work hard, put your money aside. And But, we were seeing all these older people be out of shape, not enjoying it, getting sick and all that. So I was like, I'm not going to wait. Plus the economy and the reality of our situation versus our parents wasn't the same. So I said, I'm not going to hope for the gold pot at 55 and then start having fun. I'm just going to work and have fun all through my life. And if I'm still working at 80s because I'm passionate about what I do and because I'm enjoying life on a daily basis, and it's not going to be a failure, it's going to be a choice of life. So everything started from that philosophy and saying, well, I'm not going to miss out on any opportunities because I have to work. I'm an overachiever. I know that I deliver the results. I know that I get everything done that I have to do, but I want to do it in my own terms. And I wanted to make sure that I can give my employees the same sort of environment. So I give them unlimited vacation packages. They can work from wherever they want. They're measured only on results, and they get to manage their time the way they want. And I think that's the next generation. I think that's what they're looking for. I mean, they are born with a cell phone in their hands, and it's the first thing they do every morning. They're on their phone. They're not just socializing with friends. They're answering emails. They're following up with some work colleagues. They're answering clients. Same thing at night. So it's just a question of maximizing their capacities when they're focused and when they're passionate, when they feel like working. So, I was seeing some staff sitting at the office sometimes and just being present, but obviously nothing was going on that was good, especially the creative team. It's not like you could just say, be creative now, you got to be inspired, you got to be in the moment. So sometimes you're just like, instead of wasting your time here, go bike, go run, go climb a mountain, go do something else. And then they would come back and they'd be like, wow, I'm so inspired. I'm so energized. I've just done 2 hours of exercise, and they would pull out the best work and they would do it in half the time because they were just into it and focused. So it's just saying to people when, I just want the best out of you. So what's going to bring the best out of you? Is it that you don't have to care about thinking about your kids, if they're sick, if they're, whatever it is for you, just manage it. And yeah.
It's really striking that you're seeing concrete business impact as a result of the philosophy, right? So you're seeing that people are able to be more creative, particularly in your line of work. What else has been an unexpected benefit? Like it could be employee retention or the ability to garner strong talent.
Retention, definitely. Attract new talent as well. In a situation where it's like full employment here in Quebec, very competitive market. I never have any problem hiring. Every time I put a job description out there, I get so many. I even have people calling me before from other agencies, and I'm not going to name anybody, but saying, I'm working in this agency and I really want to go back to living up north, and really, whenever you have a position open, call me. So we even have like a backlog of people that want to come and join us just to be a part of that type of philosophy. So that's definitely good. And the engagement, I mean, the employees are like tattooed red at Rouge Marketing. They're like so engaged with the company. They bring me opportunities. They open new markets for me. They're really just like little me's now duplicating and just bringing Rouge further. It's amazing.
So yeah, that's really great. And it sounds like you guys have also been growing rapidly lately. So I'm curious as to maybe dive into what are your current priorities.
Current priorities, well, we made a lot of changes in the last 3 years, and we started a hyper-scaling plan. We work with Cléo Maheu de Gazelle. I don't know if you...
I do know Cléo, actually, yeah.
Awesome coach, awesome businesswoman as well. So we've been working with her on trying to see, okay, where we want to be in the future. And instead of, working, I used to plan my budgets for like this year, my recruitment for this year, and she's been pushing me to say, okay, where do you want to be in 6 years? And then when you hire today, you're going to hire because you're going to know where you're going to go in 6 years, and it's going to make sense. And she's been really pushing up in attacking our corporate vision differently. And regular meetings, more communication. You forget, you get so busy and you just forget to take the time. So with her help and the EO Montreal Entrepreneurs Organization that I joined as well at 3 years, which is amazing peer-to-peer learning. I wish I would have done it way back. I've learned so much. I've gotten so many great stories from different entrepreneurs that have helped me grow so much as a leader, as an entrepreneur. And then today it's just like, I'm actually capable of not working in the business and working on the business. Like I barely have time at the office anymore, and projects are going super well. The revenue's going up, profits going up, and I'm like, I'm not even doing it. My team's doing it for me, so that's amazing. I get to be the coach. I get to be the positive leader that just, is there to help them or resolve more difficult situations when they arise. But it's fascinating.
So it's like the real definition of having a successful company. It's like when you're not working, it's
exactly.
when you're not physically present, it's still, the lights are still on.
Yeah, so I can be here with you and build awareness for Rouge, and do things like that instead.
Yeah. What would you say are your biggest challenges?
My biggest challenges, it's a competitive industry. I think that doesn't change. So, you put forward an aggressive growth plan. You want to make sure you hit those targets. So it's like anything else. It's you got to make sure that you always find your niche. You always have something unique to bring to the market. That you keep on pushing to get those clients in. I don't want to disappoint my team. I've made a lot of new hires as well to make sure that I can deliver the best values to my clients. I want to make sure that I bring in the business too to support that, and also to bring my partners. I have amazing partners, three boys that I love very much, and I want to get them to be in the position I am now, to work less in the business and to work more on the business, because I feel that it's helped me become a better person and helped me bring my team to a higher level. And I think that if they do that as well, and they're getting older too, and I think it's time for them to get that liberty a little bit more out of their work as well. So
you mentioned ambition. I'm curious as to what are the ambitions? Like, how big do you think the opportunity is for Rouge?
It's a good question. I've never focused on a specific revenue ambition. Or a specific size. Like, I know I don't want to be a cassette. I don't want to have an unfamiliar office. Like, I love every person in my team, and I love to get to know them. I love to know about their passion and what drives them in life. So I don't want it to become too big. But when I'm asked what's my BIAC, what's my goal, my larger vision, it's really to just sort of create a place like the most fun environment to work, where I can have talents from all around the world working with us. So just to get the best in the best working environment, I think that would be my success.
It's ambitious. I think it's pretty as you said, big, hairy, ambitious goal. I think it's pretty ambitious.
Now we recruit from here, and sometimes they go work out of Paris or work out of Gaspésie, but I'd like to be able to have access to the best talents around the world by building the most innovative, fun culture.
You spoke about the industry, so maybe agency and or marketing. I want to poke you a little bit. Been out of that space for a few years, but obviously one that I still follow. What are the biggest trends that you're keeping an eye on right now that you think are very important?
Oh my God, there's so many. It's crazy. We wake up every morning and there's something new in terms of media, digital, artificial intelligence. There's so much.
I think it's cutting beneath the noise and saying the ones that really matter, right? Yeah. Because behind all those, there's a new, thought leader on LinkedIn every single week espousing something about. Yeah. But what do you think? What are the ones that you think are the most important?
Well, obviously, it's everything around the data. I think data is what's most important today. And it's interesting to see how really it will be used, or to which level it will actually create value, and how it will, and for who it will. I'm following artificial intelligence for sure. I've seen some great projects, some great ideas. Seeing them in action, or really seeing what kind of value it brings, is still it's still undefined, so I'm very curious to see. And right now it's accessible at a much larger scale, like for much bigger companies. So how can small businesses, get value out of that data or build that data? And so it's going to be interesting to see, and that's what I'm following closely.
Yeah, and related to that question, I'm going to ask you what is it, la question qui tue.
Ouais.
So brands increasing or decreasing in importance?
It's a good question.
And I'll give you my thought process, obviously,
yeah.
because you mentioned data. It's like there is a line of thought saying, well, if you project out, let's say, the Amazons of this world, they'll simply, send you everything that you need at your house without you having to order, right? So preemptive shipping, preemptive buying. So you're going to see almost I'm kind of answering the question for you, but anyways, there's one school of thought because that says, like brands are going to decrease in importance, but there's a yin and the yang, and I don't want to give you the counter side to that, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on.
Yeah, well, I mean, Amazon's is a great example. I mean, we were just saying that the other day. I was climbing a mountain in Phoenix, and we were running out of water, and it's like, oh, give it a year from now, and we'll just text Amazon, and we'll get a ball of water within 5 minutes on the mountain, and
delivered by drone or something.
Yeah. So it's all about the offer that the experience that they're giving, but their brand is important, and I think I think the Amazon brand has got a lot of power. So I don't necessarily see brands decreasing. I think they'll be built differently. But I think still, I do believe that brand still has a value and will keep having a value. I just don't think it will necessarily be as done the same back in the days where you have maybe 5 big brands that everybody was engaged in. I think it's going to be very scattered market. I think there's going to be lots of great little brands that are going to speak to lots of different people, and we're just not going to be all Amazon people or all Starbucks babies or all I think it's going to be built differently. But I do believe that brands are going to keep surviving. I think it's important. It's the storytelling. People engage in something. They want to. So it's going to be done differently, but you're still going to engage into something. You're still going to believe into something.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that assessment. That is the part that I think makes the most sense is that you're going to see kind of a splitting of the two, right? Yeah. Either you automate and become a micro brand under Amazon, or you have a niche and you build a truly loyal following. Yeah. So the counter question to this is more, what do you think is happening that's important but that isn't getting enough attention, right? So there's all the shiny objects, but what is something that you think is super important but no one's talking about?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. We hear about it too. I mean, I'm a strong believer that people get too excited with the new trends and they forget to balance it out with some traditional approach. I think, we're going back to some of the basics. We see it in many different things. People say we go back to buying local, go back to, arts and crafts, production. We want to get away from buying from whatever comes from China, or we want to, so I think it's the same thing in terms of marketing and the strategies that you bring forward. We can't all go digital. It's not going to work. You still need that human contact. You still need some traditional media. And it's not everybody that, spends their life reading on iPad or on the computer. And some people still like the books, and some people. So, I know we talk about it a little bit. I don't think we talk about it enough. And I think it's really coming back to some sort of a balance. And people say, well, now even cities, I've been working on some project where cities are like, okay, well, we're going to, less globalization, more localization. So let's build a little city where, you have your farm, you have your office buildings, you have your recreational, all like that. And then marketing wise, and the way we're addressing it, we're like completely the opposite. And we're like far reach, super digital, and it goes sort of to the opposite of that. So I'm curious to see how it's going to come back and balance itself out.
Yeah, the pendulums can swing. Yeah, I really like your answer on that counterintuitive aspects. Like, yes, humans and people still matter, right? It's the data and the tech is just a tool. One that I think is very, very important. And I think I could probably debate this with you and talk about it for a long time, but I'm really respectful of your time, Dominique. Is there a place where people can find out more about yourself or about Rouge and the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, well, we do have our website, rougemarketing.com. I have my LinkedIn account. I don't share much about, except for my travel pictures. I don't share much on social media myself, but I'm very accessible. And if anybody wants to reach out on, they can reach out through LinkedIn, and it'll be my pleasure to discuss more.
Well, I appreciate your time, and this is a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Point of No Return podcast. Never miss an episode by clicking on the subscribe button on iTunes or Google Play.